89% of business leaders say AI is a top priority. The right choice is crucial, which is why teams at 1/3 of Fortune 500 companies use Grammarly. Grammarly is the right AI assistant for your team. With top-tier security credentials and 15 years of experience in responsible AI, Grammarly is how companies like yours increase productivity while keeping data protected and private. See why 70,000 teams trust Grammarly at grammarly.com/enterprise.
You need this now, 'cause I know I still do. Until the day I die, I'll spill my heart for you. Until the day I die.
Right. All right. What's going on, everybody? I am the one, the only, the WOOKIE, joined here by the normal cast of misfits. We have the Ewokiest of Ewoks, Ewok Jr.
Hello, Keyforge community. Glad to be here in a brand new year.
New year, new Drazcore, still the same old choke show. We got the choke show.
Hey guys, Happy New Year. Hope everybody had a wonderful holiday.
And the PhD of Keyforge. I want to give him like a letter, like Dr. M. Sheep.
M?
I don't know why M.
I get a letter for making it 2026?
Yeah, that's 2025.
Thanks.
Still 25.
Well, then I can have a letter next year.
Oh,
Okay.
sweet. But obviously, we are back from the holiday break that we normally take around this time of year. Boys, did Chota bring you everything that was on your Christmas lists?
Chota definitely, Chota brought me some of the fun stuff on my list, so that was good. Scored
Chota's
some,
funner than Santa.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I got some games, got some stuff for the bar. So, you know.
See, that's why
Very
Chota's
nice.
better than. I don't think Santa brings booze.
Yeah, this was not bottles of alcohol. Oh, actually, no, that's not true. I did get a bottle of alcohol from my new boss, which was kind of cool. I was like, oh, all right.
Wish my boss would give me bottles of alcohol. All he gives me is indigestion.
Was it good booze though?
It
Does it matter?
I mean, it was.
Yes,
I mean,
yes,
I
it
was. It was the Woodford Reserve bourbon. So it's not bad.
It is a good bottle. I'll say
Yeah.
all my bosses gives me heartaches and gray hairs. I would take any bottle of booze, even if it was like, oh, here's your Sam's Choice whiskey. I'd be like, oh, well, thank you.
Could you turn it into Jepson's Malort sausage? Something similar.
I don't know
now we're
about.
talking.
I don't know about that. The only thing I know
Okay.
about Malort is it is fished out of the Chicago River. That is why it is yellow, because it is filled with urine.
Mm-hmm.
As Sheep cracks one. I'm not sure
Nice.
who's cracking a Malort. But
That's
it's great.
not Malort. That's
That
being
wasn't
cracked,
Malort.
But she.
What are you drinking, Sheep?
Coke Zero?
Coke Zero.
I was going to say, probably Diet Coke.
All right.
It's 8:30 at night. Sheep's got a new job where he's got to be in Betty by a certain time. So we got to go. So pedal to the metal. ABR is still happening. Guys, Keyforge is still happening in 2025. It's a Christmas miracle.
Yeah.
Yay.
So what's going
That's
on
right.
over in the ABR land, Drazcore?
Well, guess which team is currently in first place based on all the losses this week that I haven't submitted yet?
Dr. Drazray?
Wow, that was our Dr. Drazray was our Dr.
Team.
Sheep X-Ray and I team league team.
Probably
Swindle
the
team
best
league back in the day.
amalgamation of 3 people on a team ever.
That's right. It was pretty good. No, this time it's Team Drazcore. As in DRAZ space CORPS. Drazcore.
Oh, the Draz Corps, like the Marine Corps.
Exactly.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
So that's what everybody voted for.
I was like, how posh of
I
you.
didn't vote for that.
Well, you probably voted for
I was like, hold
the
on.
Flaming Hobos just to confuse everyone.
Did you actually
I
vote, Sheep?
did not. Yes.
That was definitely a top voted one. What did you vote for, Sheep?
Or something clever.
Something clever? Okay. This
That's-
got a lot of votes.
Bye week.
But we are That would be not bad. We are. Yeah, we are.
No, okay. So for soccer, there was a team that went ahead and submitted their team name as bye week, and yes, it really caused some issues when you actually have a bye, and then that's different from bye week. So they got a lot of wins. It wasn't a lot of fun to play, but
good strategy.
It was.
We are currently in first place. Where this week is the weirdest format ever, though. I'm not. I wouldn't recommend it. It's an experiment. Well, it's the Key of Darkness week.
Yeah.
So every deck needs to bring Key of Darkness, and in order to win, you have to forge a key with Key of Darkness, which is probably the hardest key cheat to forge a key with. And if in TCO you forge your third key, or you're about to forge your third key, you have to manual mode to unforge a key so that you can keep playing. The problem is, as we're finding, eventually in TCO, the game will just crash because you've confused it too much. So that happened to me on the first attempt. And so then we had to play again. And I was lucky enough to win the second one this week. But it's been a strange week. We always do a jank one. I don't know if this is what we'll do again.
I think that you should have just had access to Key of Darkness 24/7. At least that at any point you can go and pull it versus
you mean like playing a deck without Key of Darkness and you can just do it?
No. Well, no. I'm saying that it should be in your deck.
Just auto archived.
But if you can go ahead and pull off Key of Darkness, you can go ahead and pull off Key of Darkness, and I'm cool with that.
Sort of like the infinite or the permanent artifact that we did. That was a really fun one. I liked that format a lot. Like for jank, not every not a huge tournament, not every week, but like something different, something crazy. It's fun. We always do one weird week in ABR.
I felt bad for you when you're like, yeah, so we went ahead and needed to go ahead and I missed it by 1 amber because I calculated wrong. So I had to cycle back through my whole entire deck.
Yes.
And that's
because I haven't played AOA in forever, and I forgot Sucker Punch was alpha, and so I'm like, I can get to 12, and I'm playing my cards, and I'm like, why can't I play this card? And I'm like, because it's alpha.
Yeah, that happens.
So I got to 11.
Alpha and Omega by possibly the worst mechanic ever introduced to Keyforge.
Yeah. So.
You have a worse mechanic, or you're with a Tide?
Yeah, Tide's pretty bad.
Worse than Alpha Omega?
I mean, Tide is bad because they didn't make the upside up enough.
Yeah.
And the downside is just not that great, right? It could have been interesting. I think Alpha and Omega are just bad ideas.
Now, people who like the Tide think tokens are the worst mechanic ever.
Because they don't like good things.
Yes. This is
They
true.
don't like things that are good. They're like, I want to struggle real hard to make Ember.
You know what would make Keyforge better is if we just smashed our fingers with a hammer and then played.
I don't know if they say that. I was more going with what would be the greatest thing ever? Is if every game of Keyforge took a full 45 minutes.
Well, I played almost 2 45-minute games of Keyforge.
Then we can just extend it to an hour-long games after that.
Yeah, why not?
Aren't you the big proponent of Heart of Forest? So
yeah. Oh, I'm
puzzled where this is coming.
I'm a big fan of Heart of the Forest on the opposite reason, right? So for all those, like, I am a big proponent of Keyforge games taking like 20 minutes ish. I'm only playing Heart of the Forest to completely frustrate the person across the table from me.
I think I'm more along the lines of Wizard Random in our comments here. Alpha and Omega aren't the worst idea, and I do think it's intuitive. It's pretty easy to actually come up with for game design. The cards Alpha and Omega were applied to were pretty bad, though, in general. So that I give credit to Wizard Random on, and I agree.
That's true. There needed to be a better, like, if they were like really powerful. Yeah, I could see them being like, yeah, okay, that's a thing.
Like
that
Gargantus
exists.
Scrapper,
That's what I was thinking of.
which
That's
I did have in the
hysterical.
deck I was playing.
Did you
Like-
also forget to play that first?
I think one of the loops I did forget. And I was like, "What?" But it's not like I'm going to do it. I'm just going to discard them. Right?
Oh yeah,
like,
no. That or
like I'm at
Bumblebird.
2
Like
keys, 5 Ember. I'm like, I just got to get the cards that I want to win the game. So discard, play them doesn't matter. I'm not going to reap because then I'll have to get back to 5 again. It was a weird thing.
Sheep, how you playing in ABR?
I'm doing just fine. Having a little trouble getting my game scheduled this week, but I'll figure it out.
I
But
believe in you.
I think I only lost once so far.
We can validate this. Hold on. Dr. Sheep, you're 3-2.
Ugh. I guess I
Numbers.
lost twice.
In the new year, boys, we're actually going to have facts now.
What else did I
Oh
lose?
man.
You
Ooh.
lost, let's see, round 4 and round 1. So that means you lost. What was that?
Oh yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah,
what
we lost round
this
four.
what this tells us, Keyforge community, is that you just have to have a short-term memory and forget your losses and move on to all those victories, right, Sheep?
100%.
There you go.
I mean, like, yeah. What I mean, like,
it is actually true.
keeping yourself all tied up over not
A loss,
winning.
it happens.
It's not worth it.
Yeah, the old
It's all right. Thanks to help from Future
pictures.
Self, I got to relive my loss from Gen Con. Thanks, Sydney.
The because of the Help from Future Self podcast that dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good episode.
Yeah.
They were talking about it. I was like, yeah, crush that Wookiee guy.
I loved it. All of it. It was great.
But yeah, the pitcher's amnesia, that is something that you should have, right? If you if you give up that home run, just you can't remember it. You got to throw the next pitch. Same thing, Keyforge. You do something either because you drew poorly or you played wrong or the matchup was bad. Got to have Archons amnesia go into the next game.
Otherwise,
Wreck
it'll lead to
house.
Tilt, which was my first
Mhm.
episode many
Yeah.
eons ago.
Mm. Mm.
Speaking of eons ago, boys and girls, Prophetic Visions
What's that?
and Game Found Pledge Manager is now live. We have finished, so please go ahead and make sure you submit.
Yes. And make sure you do your home base stuff. Or are we too late
yeah,
for that?
Separate form. Home base
Yeah, so-
and deck name. Go ahead.
You got it.
Yeah, the deck name. So if you got an order where you need to pick an amazing deck name, go in and put Archon's Corner Best Podcast in that form field.
Yeah.
And or draw better. Maybe that's better. Just do draw better. Let's see how many draw better decks we could have.
X-Ray Sucks is always a classic.
That is a classic.
Ewok is my favorite podcast host. That's also pretty good.
Are you? So I think I own the only Slow Walk Slow deck right now. So you guys could all go out and get Slow Walk Slow decks.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
But then you might not have the best one in the world anymore.
Yeah.
It's true. I think mine's a 90. It's pretty. It's like almost good enough. It's
almost
It's
good
close.
enough. Just
It
like
is.
everything. But
just like Ewok.
oh. Oof. Oof. Oof.
Very nice. So
I feel like that was a low lob to
Amnesia.
you to just smash that pitch out of this park. Whew. It doesn't. You know what
Amnesia.
though, Draz? It doesn't matter this year because for all of our vaults, first and second now makes it in, so we're good.
There you go. So you're gonna do
See?
it. I think.
Amnesia, man.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh.
Kryptonite, my store, is backed, so you can vote for them. But I don't think I have any actual local players to vote for me this time because the store we play at has it. Chicago has them, so I won't get the Chicago people. Like there's, I don't know. So if you're out there, you don't have a store to vote for, you can always vote for Kryptonite Collectibles of Janesville. send me a picture, and when we actually know what we're getting, because we don't know what having it this time even means.
Which is super
God, I hope
weird.
it better
Question
be
mark.
better than more just M plus.
Nope.
But
More M
anyways,
plus.
put your vote over here by me, and I will be happy to hook you up with some of whatever we get at whatever standard price will be. But,
Yeah.
So if you really got nowhere to vote for,
Throw a vote
up.
Sheep's way. We're not colluding or anything.
there's not store decks this time. Like the last two ones, you got store logo decks. It doesn't appear that they're in the kits this year, so you're not going to get store logo decks.
Well,
You'll get Crucible Clash, right? Is the thing, right?
Is that the thing that's going to be based off of votes?
Well, you get access to. I don't know what you get based off of
Question.
votes.
Question.
Yeah.
So all we can really go ahead and say is a couple of things. One, Pledge Manager for making sure your shipping is up to date, adding any last minute add-ons, and home base is all due by Tuesday, January 21st at 10 a.m. Central Time. So that we do know. As today's January 9th, got a little bit of time, but not a ton. Two, we know that home base is not being taken care of by the stores anymore. Correct, guys? Unless I got that wrong. The actual link itself is on keyforging.com, and there is a spot for home base. It has very, very, very little information. If you back the Keyforge Visions, Prophetic Visions Game Found campaign, basically you're going to fill in a couple things, and it says for the same: your name, email, your Game Found Pledge ID, and then the region. And from there, then they have a whole listing kind of by state, which for us and internationally, there is different. Australia, I can see what is there for the game. Europe, you can go ahead and see the store. So I actually think the organization of that is nice. It's a little sad for those stores that didn't essentially sign up for it. But I feel the process, while it is bogged down and a little bit cumbersome to get to, hopefully it is us as people who've pledged, we can go ahead and put that in pretty easily. So I don't know. What's your thoughts, boys? Am I off?
Yeah, I mean, I am a little worried that it's
going to be forgotten and missed.
Yeah. And because people are forgetting missing. So hopefully people are able to order their stuff, get something cool, and it'll be good.
As to what coolness it is, we have no idea.
Yeah.
One day.
But tell us, communicate, have that plan in place. That's a good thing.
That's next week.
That's not this week. That's right.
That's
so there has to be a little taste
moments.
because we did go ahead and get some feedback that we were way too positive and
yeah, I don't know what episode that was on. I mean, maybe we were positive for a little bit.
Well, so
sure.
there was a specific comment that we weren't giving GG hard enough time about OP support.
Just you wait till next week.
Yeah. Well, when you set the bar so low that you step over it instead of riding under it, they can
sometimes
succeed.
In this game, I feel like I have a little touch of the Stockholm syndrome, right? Like you start identifying with your captor.
We're already invested. We're just sticking with it.
I'm just here till the wheels fall off.
Mm-hmm.
It's any day now, I think.
No. There is some things, and we have our top 5 moments.
But this week we want to talk about the top 5 things, not moments. Top 5 things Keyforge related in 2024. Well, moments is like Wookiee took second place at Nationals. Like that's a moment, right? This is
Ewok
like
held my hand.
Yeah,
it was a moment.
Now, mind you,
we connected eyes.
Yeah,
but mind you, these are in no specific order. These are just 5 things that we found to be extraordinarily positive and uplifting. And knowing this cast, I'm sure we'll find a way to fuck it all up.
I think that we start at this one that's highlighted here, Wookie.
So, speaking of home bases, last year for us, the home base program was a big positive for us. We enjoyed it. I enjoyed the decks. I enjoyed the pins on my mat. I like all the things about the home base program. I guess we kind of had a little extra because sheep is a store. But
because he does the right.
Yeah.
There's Kryptonite Collectibles. That is what runs the event that Sheep runs every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
You should come play with us online.
Well, back when it had to be sponsored by a store. Yes.
Right. I mean, the deck, if you come and buy a deck, it's still through that, right? So,
yes.
But yes.
Yep, that is the retail account that buys the decks.
Yes.
But I don't know. I think it goes a little bit more beyond that, though, boys. Like, the idea to have pride in our stores, we see when we go to vaults, people representing different stores in different regions with essentially jerseys or shirts that come from those stores. And I like that GG actually leaned into it. I thought the home base pins were really snazzy. I thought it was a really nice touch. And I will tell you, I think that actually brought people into the GameFound campaign for Amber Skies, where other GameFounds didn't have that. And frankly, it wasn't always like there were reasons not to necessarily back, and we've seen a decrease. But I do think the home base process and kind of that implementation really was pretty cool. So I thought that they started off in the right path, and I enjoyed that.
I did like that, they were saying effectively, hey, we have to do GameFound, but we know that stores are important. So we're going to do this thing. We're going to try to make it cool. Now, how cool was it? Right. But I did think it was a thrust in the right direction, and some of the aspects of it were cool. So hopefully it continues to improve.
Hopefully. I feel like we've taken a step back this year in that area. But, I mean, maybe it turns out really, really awesome.
Well, I mean,
we don't know.
There was a big
we don't
awesome
know.
thing. We'll get to it in a bit.
Maybe we don't know. But we all enjoyed the home base program. Number 4, I'm going out on a limb here. Grim Reminders, baby. Grim Reminders best set. Grim Reminders awesome. Grim Reminders fantastic. Everything about Grim Reminders was absolutely awesome. This is the set. I'm just going to say it right here. After WoW, I was pretty down on Keyforge as a whole. I wasn't enjoying playing it anymore. I wasn't enjoying doing a lot of things in the Keyforge land with WoW. Then Grim Reminders came out, and I went, holy banana-ramas, and knocked my socks off. I loved Grim Reminders. We need more of sets like that. Sets where it makes me feel like I have a chance, even though I don't, but make me feel like I have a chance. I
mean, the vast majority of the cards and everything going on in Grim Reminders is a ton of fun. And there's a lot to like. Yes, there's a couple problematic things, which is probably what some of you listening are like, wow, what? But I mean, almost all sealed experiences that I've had in GR have been great. And I would say most of the Archon experiences have been great as well. So I mean, that's pretty good. I overall liked it. Asterisk.
Yeah. I think that Grim Reminders, for me, allowed individuals to be able to enter the game and you had a competitive deck at a much higher rate. And I think that was important I think it's important for GG. I think that there have been some decks that have been carried along for a very, very, very long period of time. And I mean, we saw it on the Vault Tour scene. Grim Reminders just absolutely destroyed things that we had seen WoW kind of taking over.
I was going to say, but
that you're talking about.
This is nothing new. Like, WoW did the same thing. right? Like,
no,
what
but
was a good chunk?
But I'm saying before that, you had really seen a lot of our vaults being a number of the same decks continue to show up. And so Woe, there was that early transition. I mean, if we really look at the Philly Vault Tour, you still had people kind of holding on to some of the older decks. And as the 2023 season kind of took over, you could see that Woe really increased and increased and increased. And then when we got to 2024, you're really looking at Grim Reminders saying, yeah, what you have for Woe, we can go ahead and up the ante. So I do appreciate that decks had a little bit more meaning. You had a higher chance at being able to pull something that was fire. And that's interesting to me. And it was fun to be able to play with. There were some interesting ideas behind Grim Reminders. I will say that it did fall into a couple of different archetypes and they became very repetitive and very easy to see. And it did become one-dimensional in my opinion, but I hear what you're saying for Grim Reminders as a whole to be able to push the
What's
envelope.
weird is the one-dimensional that we were all heading into, like, that's not even what won. That's not even what took it. Just saying.
I mean,
playing a same, like being able to eliminate a house.
So
because that's really what we're at. If you can go ahead and whittle down immediately to 2 houses instead of 3, that's a win.
Yes, but I feel like every card in Grim Reminders had a form. Like, it never felt like I was playing like a dead card. I felt like every card I played had an impact and had a change on the game. Very like rarely did you play well. Yeah. Besides Tutor Ben, if you're playing Tutor Ben Rilo,
Mr. Perfect.
I would tell you to question your life choices if you're playing Tutor Ben Rilo, right? But I mean, that's me. But very few cards in there was it like, oh man, like I'm just playing garbage for garbage sake.
Right. Yeah. Most of the card pool was good and enjoyable, and there was only a couple stinkers, but you have to have some stinkers, right?
Yes.
I don't know if you do in this game.
Well, the Ben Rilo was a little too bad, right? But
I don't know if you
that
need
are only good in certain moments.
I wonder, right? Because we talk about the theory of card gaming, and we're like, oh, you got to have bad cards. Do you have to have bad cards in a game where everything is procedurally generated?
Yes.
Why?
Well,
what is the game design philosophy behind that?
Figuring out, so not necessarily terrible cards, but cards that are only good situationally. Figuring out how to take great advantage of those situational cards is a lot of fun.
Yeah,
especially
it's called not playing them.
Well,
just
but
avoiding them like the
so important. But it shows the strategy that's there, and so what we're trying to be able to show is that a good player will rise to the top versus just having good cards.
But that's not how this game operates.
No, it is, Wookie.
A good player just doesn't play the bad cards now.
No, because you cannot hand pick every card in your deck. Like, even the best decks have some less than amazing cards. That's still pretty interesting.
I would
not
I
every
would
single
say
card in
yes.
Fraud is amazing.
I would say yes if we didn't have Sealed Alliance, and that wasn't our main form of playing things now.
Well, that's if
it was back to OG Sealed, right, where you got to pick a deck and like you had to choose it. Yeah. Now that shows the player skill, but now it's Sealed Alliance where you get 3. You can just avoid Tutor Ben Rilo in the ilk altogether and not have to worry about it.
I
disagree about that. But.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily talking about Tutor Ben Rilo because I think that's just a bad card. But cards like so the Sting has been a card that people have been using this week in the Key of Darkness matchup, right? The Sting is a very weird card that can be very bad for you, but can be very good for you. That is a lot of fun to play. Now, is it
all of Wookie's favorite cards are bad cards?
Well, yeah, like Pester Grove and
Hester Grove and Heart of the Forest are
Heart of
not
the
bad
Forest.
cards. They just, you don't like them.
Narp.
Oh, NARP, yeah.
And NARP is an inside joke, and if you don't get it, that's cool, bro.
A Bonesaw, right?
Well,
He's ready.
Bonesaw's ready. Like, you know.
I mean, so
My
Bonesaw's
favorite
not a
cards
great
are-
card, but he's
my-
not a bad card.
My favorite cards
not-
are all memes. What do people not understand?
Yeah. I think it's good. I think we should have those cards.
So let me tackle this a little bit different, Draz. If everything is an A+ card, then that means that essentially you're negating your previous card pool, or they're not all A+. So they're comparatively being rated, and we have to keep that in mind. And so that's what he's talking about for the situational play, is that by putting in some cards that have at different rarities a higher occurrence of having a larger impact on the game, that is what we like to be able to see, so that the pilot or the person who's going ahead and running the deck can show a better understanding. And when you see someone who takes the same deck that you've gone ahead and piloted, they can go ahead and show you maybe something different or new. A number of players really like that. Others don't, but that has to be kept in mind, as there's something to be gained by different experiences, different play styles, and how people are interpreting and using the cards.
Fair. All right. Sheep wanted us to add this one in. The theory behind MMMMMM. Sheep?
Yeah, is on the home base thing. Like that M+ was going to be part of the home base, and it got people to back and vote. And people voted for some, like people voted for Kryptonite, although they don't play at it because they knew I would sell them the M+, right? Because, yeah. And so like it did definitely bring people in. Like I backed just so we'd have a vote. And what they did there, the way they repackaged that in advertising was very, very popular, right? That was a very good idea. Next week, we'll cover this again on the execution of that, but the idea was amazing. Like it was a fantastic idea. It really did bring people in. People were excited. People were interested. And that's, what's his home base.
All right.
The theory of M+. The remix of a set, not Discovery, where we're not sure what kind of remix we're getting. But like a lot of us have talked, or I know we've talked about it on the cast here before, that, Coda Remastered would be good. And not getting rid of Control of the Weak and the good cards in it. Because they didn't take anything out that we can tell with M+. Like, they didn't go, oh, well, we don't need any Mark of Distant and Furnaces. You can still get piles of them in M+, which is good.
Yep.
Alrighty. Next thing we have on our list, deck accolades and deck clones. I think everyone was in agreement that this was a very happy time. We can now
Accolades is a really cool idea. Yeah.
Yeah, if you have any. I don't.
Yeah, well, also, I do wish, so I think they should open it up a little more, right? If you made a top 8, crack that open, right?
The extra cost of taking the digital top 2 or whatever, and then, or a top 4, and then just changing it to an 8, right? And attaching it, like the cost of a digital image and tracking seems super low, but the potential income from more reprints. Yeah, I wonder how much they actually make on a reprint to know if it's worth them investing any effort in it.
Well,
so I think it's there's probably a little bit to be made, but not a massive amount. But I think it could generate more excitement, right? If you can generate more ways to generate those accolades, right? So once they actually, in 2027, once playstyle is actually available for use, right?
Is that a made up number or?
Yes.
Is that the number that you're going? We're going with
2027. There you go. So, like, hey, if you bring your deck to the store at least X number of times, you get some accolade, right? Like, people would go, I think, and bring that deck and play it multiple times to get that accolade. I think so. You then get that deck that you really like that says, like, played at whatever the name of your store is, right?
Now that seems, well, I guess if they'd have to have some way to almost AI that, or
Well, just it has to be a certain number of characters, and when you set up the whatever and play style, it has that number of characters, right? Like, you could programatize that, right? So it's work.
That seems like a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you. That does seem like a lot.
I don't know.
Like, I think that if a deck wins a store championship, I don't know if that was on there. I don't think it was, but if it wins a store championship, that would be a nice accolade.
Yeah, it is. The store championships give accolades.
They give accolades now?
Yeah.
I didn't think they did originally, but
they are supposed to this season.
Even like your local stuff, like if you could get an accolade with it, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah. Like, just generate more reasons for people to want to reprint their decks with those cool things on it and show them off.
Absolutely. I mean, I think also, I have a deck that's in French. I now have 2 clones of it. Somehow I ordered 2. I'm not sure how.
It's also.
Did you get charged twice?
I did.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
All right, I have one for me and one for Ewok, because Ewok also wanted a copy. So now I can share with a friend.
I like it.
There you go.
I'll say this is also like the top delivered promise, right, for GG.
And the way they did it was pretty classy, right? Like, at the event, being at KFC, being like, and it works right now.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's head just.
But here's the deal: they had promised it the year previous too.
Yeah, but
and then they're like, "We'll see
soon."
Yeah,
it was like, and it's available now.
Yes,
like
true.
That was good. That was good. That was a good recovery.
Yep, they did okay here. That's why it's on this list of the top 5 things for last year.
Yep.
Because that was well done. We'll see how fleshed out it becomes, or if it is just kind of a couple things here and there.
Interesting. We'll have to wait and see, right?
Yeah.
But one thing I think everyone can sit and say, yep, that was 1,010% the best thing that GG did in 2024. The Mars Civil War event. I don't know who came up with it at GG, but bravo to whoever did it. Hats off. I tip my hat to you, because not only, I mean, that brought people into the stores. It really did. That was the first thing, the first time I can ever say that somebody was like, I'm here to play Keyforge. And we're like, who the hell are you? And they're like, well, we heard about this Civil War thing, and I went and I looked for a place to play it, and I found one, and now I'm here.
Well, but part of it was new cards, well-known competition of the 2 different sides. You have an impact on storyline coming forward, but also there was a game store finder. Like, that's important if we want to find a game that we are interested in to play. I can bug other people who are in the store, but if there are people who can find the game, who see it through any advertising from social media, from us, from GG, that game finder is extremely important in my opinion.
And I think that can be fleshed out to just local play. I don't see why that isn't kind of taken care of. Why there isn't a gate like FFG used to have that, didn't they? They'd be like, "Hey, find out where to play." They had a store like most places.
Most
Store
things
finder.
have a store finder, and GG has multiple times done maps for events and stores who have backed things. So they have stuff.
Yeah, but it's not. I mean,
It's not as fleshed out as just a simple store finder click, but they have been making improvements towards that.
baby steps, right? We got to walk before we can run, right?
But it was there for the Mars event, correct?
Correct. I believe so. Yes? No? Not everybody at once.
I don't remember. Turns
I
out
mean-
I already know where I'm playing, so I don't ever look.
I'm fairly certain it was, but
I thought
we're back
it was.
to our old ways with yeah.
Nothing's changing in 2025. We're still gonna make things up. Who are you kidding?
We can always hope for better.
All right.
We made it a few minutes.
We need to just, get back in the groove of things, right? But I thought that was one of the biggest things. I loved the Mars Civil War. I had fun with it. I think, I attended multiple. We went all the way to Sanctum Gaming down. Is that in Racine?
Yep.
Yep, in Racine, just to play some Keyforge. Like, total fun. I had a blast. I hope we have it again this year because it was worth it.
Yeah, I think it was fun because it was at there are different sides that I could go out and play. You could be passionate about one side and asked to be able to play repeatedly. It's a little bit of a bummer that the cards, because they're only part of a deck, that you can't actually play them afterwards. But that really didn't detract from me, and I think that's what surprised me most. This is like the old store champs and kind of FFG days where you went from store to store for more primes. It was a lot of fun to be able to travel and to spend time with people just playing Keyforge and talking Keyforge.
I miss those primes. Primes were a ton of fun.
Yeah.
But I think that's what the event was similar to. And so that's why I really think that it was a blast for me.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But let's get into. I think we all kind of unanimously voted on this one. It was the Vault Tours this year and the continuation of Vault Tours. No money this year for Vault Tours. We'll talk about that next week. But just the fact that they were prizes in general. But just the fact that we continued with Vault Tours. I mean, they're in game stores now. I don't you put this in here, Ewok. Why?
Yeah.
I mean, you put it in like Vault Tours in game stores. I don't know if I necessarily consider that a highlight. I don't consider it a low light, but what's your thought process there?
I think that Vault Tours being at game stores, this is a really important step for us to have those connections. I think that instead of it being at some of the major cons, this allows it to be more of a Keyforge centric event that's happening. And when you go to a larger store and all of a sudden we have, 50, 75, 100 people that are showing up for different items or different events, all of a sudden your ears kind of pick up. And so I think that it draws from the local community, which is what I was initially anticipating seeing the game store idea. But it also gets others who may not be ready to commit to something a little bit larger. And it got people interested. So you're kind of peeking over, what's happening over there? And I think the Mars event did that slightly, but I think being in stores really helped to solidify it. I think that you had an individual flair from the different vaults based on where they were, and there's a lot of pride in the game stores. I also think that it offers different options where, when we go over to Roseville, you're restricted by a game center what time we have to be able to get out. And that's partially what we're seeing here for the game stores, but it has, I don't know, you get your sleeves there, and there's just a different community vibe. And so I thought it was really important that we were at game stores. I like to build that long term. I thought this was a huge step in the right direction for getting out into more of a local organized play system versus something that's a little bit larger. And that sounds weird because it's vaults, right? That's not your local organized play. But if I can connect with stores for going ahead and setting up a larger event, and we can house that more appropriately than just in a hotel. I think that it shows other stores that's maybe I can go ahead and connect over with my store in the future, or maybe I can go ahead and pull my local community in. So that's why I put it on. I think that was really important.
Yeah, Wizard Random says that he agrees with you, and no U.S. Nationals in 2025 is a good call. I didn't really feel like one way or the other on it. Not having it at Gen Con might have been even better. Right? Because
at that point, it's just sort of saying, hey, we got vaults, and vaults are a lot of fun. So I think that's fine, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, we had a blast at Nationals. I don't know about you guys. I had fun. I think, well, Ewok might not have had fun. Sheep had fun.
Oh, I had fun. I guess my question really comes down to when we look at National. What's the difference? What's the difference that we're seeing a separation between Nationals and vaults?
And I don't know if any of us could have honestly answered that question.
Well,
and I think
that's exactly what they said in their thing, is there isn't enough difference between Nationals and vaults to segregate them.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's really all that needs to be stated is
just a little lower barrier for somebody who wants to run an event to do a Nationals than a vault in a foreign country. Well,
but having
probably a significantly lower barrier to run.
But having it at Gen Con was kind of rough, right? I mean, saying lower barrier, fine, but like for U.S. Nationals...
Well, I'm saying in foreign...
choice.
Foreign is very different from U.S.
Yeah.
I think that was, is tradition is basically what put it there, not logic.
Yeah, because I mean that put a much bigger barrier because of how much money it was costing.
Yeah, put
to
a barrier
go there
to the players.
Right. So, I mean, the only thing I could, well, I'm not even going to say that because I already know the answer is no. So I don't even know why I'd like get my hopes up. I'm just saying Adepticon, where it all began so many years ago.
Well, Adepticon actually is moving back to Milwaukee. Yeah, they outgrew their space.
Which is weird. They outgrew their space and then they moved to Milwaukee as opposed to Illinois or Chicago.
Milwaukee has a larger gaming space. You got a picture that Gen Con was housed in before it was in Indianapolis. It was in the
Midwest
area.
Express Center for years.
Yeah, and so with that, we have the space. You also there's just a different cost for parking in hotels, and Milwaukee does offer that next step up. But regardless,
I kind of figured Chicago would offer the next step up, but maybe they don't need something that big. But yeah, maybe it was a price thing. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got in here, and that so you guys put we did talk a little bit about KFC, that KFC had extended into more of an experience as opposed
4 days,
to...
Yeah.
Well, it's also an extra day.
It's an extra day, but like there were other things to do, right? There were community-led events, which is something we didn't get to see before. I mean, we had the podcasters panel, which is something that really wasn't done before. I would have liked to seen some of these things put on a little bit grander of a scale. As opposed to like
the
a
creator
side
cards
note.
were awesome.
The creator cards are great. I had fun with those. But I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna run, we had Shredder and we had it on the last day, and there was what was else? Something
the Kagi folks did adaptive, right?
They did adaptive.
So a lot of people had fun doing that. Right?
But like it was all kind of a side note as opposed to like part of the experience, I think.
Maybe. I don't know. A lot of people participated. I like a lot of people were doing a lot of stuff, right? So I thought that pretty much everything that well, I guess I don't know all the things. I guess if there was stuff that wasn't well attended, I wasn't aware of it. So I guess maybe I shouldn't say everything was done, but there was definitely things going on that a number of people went to, right? So
I think a more dedicated area with, I don't know, somewhat clearer signage because I mean, it was definitely in our pamphlet, handout, flyer, program, whatever set of words. But you didn't really realize it was going on unless you went and looked for it.
Yeah, I mean, for the podcast panel, it was announced. I went then back and shouted it out, and not everyone is willing to be able to do that. I will say, as I am presently in the process of running a very large men's event, that's one of the big tricks, boys, is where do we have space? So if you look at the game center, I do agree with you, Sheep. I think signage could have been important. I think that would have helped. But we were inside rooms. We were in the other room. And there's still a gaming facility that others are attending who aren't part of this event. And so that's where it becomes a trick is, okay, what rooms are actually available? I think they did the best that they could, but in regards to spacing and room size, I just don't know where else we could really go unless you're outside of Game Center. But I do like the idea of adding on to that with signage. Like, here's signage would help.
It was a little weird them losing half the one game space is dedicated to them. But
what?
That's
we pretty much took it over on Sunday, yeah. So
we pretty much took it over the whole weekend, but it was not dedicated to us, and there were other games and non-Keyforge people in that space.
This is true. I know Saturday and Friday there was plenty of non-Keyforge going on. So, I mean, it wasn't dedicated to us. What's that?
Well, plus we had, the Scrubs Revenge party. Just all the partying. Right?
I was going to get involved in that with all of the kind of the things you could do outside of Keyforge, right? Like,
yeah.
There was stuff to do after Keyforge too, when Keyforge is all done, like getting to meet other people. And then being told you're not their favorite person of Archons Corner. Or
that is okay.
Or being told that
you didn't expect to be people's favorite. Come on.
I didn't, but my favorite was still somebody telling me to my face that the Wookiee, not really their favorite member of Archons Corner. I'm like,
who was their favorite? Now I'm curious.
I don't remember, but I was just kind of like, oh, okay. And like just kind of playing it coy because, you're being told like, no, not really my favorite. I'm like, you have no idea who you're talking to right now, do you? Oh, this is kind of great.
They probably followed it up with my favorite person at Archons Corner is Essie Steele, right? That's probably
no, I don't believe
my
so.
favorite member of Archons Corner.
Who? Sydney?
Yeah,
she's not
local.
Honorary local, yeah. But the parties were definitely a big thing. Whether that was just sitting around playing skulls or doing shots or
Malort.
or talking to Drazcor with glazed over eyes, not knowing if he really knows what you're telling him or not.
I remember nothing.
Yep. That was my favorite part of KFC.
And we had good food. We went out.
Good food. We had the
good
ramen.
Drink.
I mean, it wasn't for the community, ladies and gentlemen. It wasn't for the community. This is one of the better ones I've been involved in.
The best.
Number one. But tell us what your guys' favorite part of 2024 was. We're all ears. We're listening. Put it down in the comments section down below. And with that being said, next week we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna flip it and reverse it. Right? We're gonna be going over the bottom 5 things of 2024. Are you guys ready? I'm ready.
Pink jerseys. That might be.
You were born ready.
What was wrong with the pink jerseys? They were fantastic. You know how many compliments I've gotten on those jerseys?
I never got mine.
Was it from Ghostbusters?
That's because it's kid sized.
Yeah, yours is a yours is definitely a youth large. It's actually in my bathroom. I framed it and put it on my wall in my bathroom. But it was a good time. So let us know what your guys' favorite is. Next week we'll be going over the bottom 5. I can't wait for that one. I think we're all ready to maybe unleash and start healing a little bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But with that being said, somebody has to tuck Dr. Sheep in. Yes, Ewok.
I was going to say, let's definitely keep it up, though. Home base. Let's keep that going. Let people know. Have those sets, not just in theory, no, but like keep pushing. Good sets like Grim Miner's important. Deck accolades and reprints. The deck clones coming out. That's awesome. Mars event. So I'm looking forward to the event this year. And definitely organized play. Our Vault Tour, just continuation at game stores, extended KFC. There's a lot happening in the Vault. So there's a lot that we're thankful for from last year, and we're looking to build upon it this year. We want the best for this game.
Yeah, and it's halfway through January. You feel free to tell us where the hell they are.
We do know about one.
We know about
that
one.
That is a major step forward.
Is it?
This is positive, yes. Wookie.
It's
we are positive.
A step in the right direction.
I think we knew about one this time last year.
No, we didn't.
We didn't?
They did say they were going to announce more in January, so that would also be a positive step forward.
Should I check keyforging.com, or is it just going to get released tomorrow just to spite us?
I mean, it's definitely not there now, I don't think. But
let's see.
Go ahead. Good.
No, last update was December 19th, 2024.
Hold on. Did they forget to hit the submit button again?
Maybe. I've done it.
Nah, I think they're working on it, right? They're calling every game store in the country.
Yep.
I was just
calling them.
I was just hoping that there was going to be a refresh button here just to spite us. That would have been great.
Yeah, all of a sudden you refresh and it's just there. Ugh. I'd be so upset. You have no idea. We just start bottom 5 right now.
No.
I feel like there's some new art on these. I don't remember all this art here. Some of these I definitely remember. Some of these I don't remember at all. Like the one on Faith Prophecies and Fates Explored. I don't remember this. This Shadows Inspector Gadget looking dude. I don't remember him.
Where are you looking?
On keyforging.com.
This is great radio, boys and girls. Absolutely
amazing. This isn't a radio. This is a podcast. Nobody comes here.
So they can't see what you're talking about.
Nobody comes here for the information. They come here to listen to us complain. Let's be honest.
Somebody was talking about the radio today at work. I was like, what's the radio?
The what? Radio? Never heard of her.
Right.
We love you guys all. There's a lot happening around the world. So if you're Southern California, stay safe if you're involved in any of that.
That's
horribleness.
intense. There's folks down there. So
and that's why a number of our ABR friends and flooding for UK. There's a lot happening. So be safe. Play some Keyforge. Keep smiling.
And with that being said, Ewok has to tuck Dr. Sheep into bed. And we'll see y'all next week.
Happy fortune, everyone.
May the forge be with you.
My hands are at your throat, and I think I hate you. We made the same mistake.